Welcome back to FM Story. We're at the halfway point of season 14 of this South American Glory Hunt save, and unfortunately, in the last episode, things didn't end as we would have hoped in the Apertura. We missed out on qualifying for the final of the Apertura by 1 point. We lost 3 games. The only 3 games we lost in the Apertura stage, we lost in the semi-final stage, and unfortunately, we didn't make the final. No other jobs really came up, so we're sticking with Millonarios. Obviously, we've already won the Clausura, so we don't need to win that again, but we need to sort of build a squad for next season so that we can have another proper crack at the Apertura. We've done quite a bit of transfer business since the end of the Apertura stage. We had a kind of disappointing spell in the Club World Cup as well. So without further ado, let's get into the action. So transfer-wise, in terms of the outgoings, there's a couple of players gone out. Carlos Perez, who was our star at right back, was out of contract at the end of the season, wasn't going to sign a new contract. We had to cash in. He's gone to West Ham for $2 million. Arismendi, who we signed last season, who's been sort of a bit part player, has gone for up to $500,000 to Corinthians. And then in terms of the incoming, so far we've had 3 signings. Firstly, we picked up Johnny Rubiano, who we had previously in the save when we were at Atletico Nacional. He's coming on a free transfer to boost our options up front and wide. Andre Ruiz has come in from Independiente Medellin as a right back to join the group of players to try and replace Carlos Perez. And then we've also brought in a loan deal. We brought in Johnny Sarmiento from Milan. I think we had him at junior at the time we were there. He went to Milan. He hasn't done much, as you can see, in the 6 seasons that he's been, or the 6 years he's been at Milan. We've brought him in to play up front on loan till the end of the season. We've opted to tweak the formation a touch because of the extra strikers we've got. We're going with a 4-2-4 to start the season, and we'll see how that pans out. As we said, after the Clausura, we went into the Club World Cup. We lost the first game 4-2 against Barcelona. We beat Vancouver 5-1 before we lost 3-1 to Inter in the last game, which meant that we went out of the group stage. I mean, we did have a pretty tough group getting both Barcelona and Inter. But now it's about moving on to the Clausura and the Copa Colombia and just seeing if we can have a decent run to the end of the season, keep our job, and then see where we are come the start of next season. So it's time for the first game of the Clausura at home against Union Magdalena. We're going with that 4-2-4. So we've got Ruiz in at right back instead of Carlos Perez. We've got Sarmiento, Parter and Negredo up front. And hopefully this will work. Otherwise, we might be looking for a new formation again. The 4-3-3 worked exceptionally well in the league stage of the Apertura, but it collapsed in the semi-final stage. Almost 1-0 up there. Negredo squaring it for Sarmiento. Hits the defender, goes behind for a corner. Garcia to take the corner, lifts it to the back post, and it's headed over the top. Right, Garcia with another corner. This one driven into the near post. Carvajal heads it back to Garcia. Belalcazar across to Civilion Perez. Still alive. Belalcazar pulls it back. Sarmiento sweeps it home. 1-0. And just the scoreline we deserve based on how we started the game. They half clear it. Belalcazar shifts it past the defender, pulls it back, and Sarmiento just swivels on it and puts it in the back of the net. Right, Garcia with another corner. And this time the head's powered down, the keeper saves it. It ends up going in off Arboleda for an own goal, and that's 2-0. Or is it? No, it's been disallowed for some reason. So Garcia with the corner. Carvajal gets his head on it. It hits our player right in front of the keeper. Yeah, definitely offside. Right. Ruiz with the throw. Belalcazar lifts it to the back post. Garcia gets up. Close range header. Does make it 2-0 this time. And we've looked pretty good going forward. We've not seen anything of us defensively. But it seems to be, I mean, it's not the best game to kind of guess from, but if you look at the average rating so far, both centre halves over 7, all the attacking players providing some sort of performance as well. So hopefully we can keep it up in the second half. Right, we've sent the same team out to start the second half. They've got a free kick though on the edge of the box to start this second half. Hits it straight into the wall. It's hammered upfield. Garcia flicks it on. And then we've caught them. Sarmiento's in. Goes round the keeper. Into the empty net. Gets his second goal of the game. And that is, I mean, how we managed to get there, I don't know. Garcia just flicked it on. And then they've conspired to just give the ball away. Sarmiento through on goal. Coolly takes it around the keeper. And things are looking good. Ruiz for the throw. Belalcazar to Niagu. Into Negredo. Angulo coming forward from left back. Crosses it. Saved. Now they're breaking. And Perez gets across to win it. Angulo into Garcia. He gives it away. Right, we made a couple of changes wide. We brought on Rubiano on the right and Avila on the left. Avila with it. Finds Niagu. There's Rubiano on the edge of the box. Shifts it. Gets past his man. And hits the post. And Rubiano wins it back. Avila. Back to Rubiano on the right. He bullets the cross across, headed away to Angulo, whose shot's deflected. Sarmiento turns it in for his hat-trick. And this might prove to be a pretty decent loan signing, getting Sarmiento in. Angulo just drills it. It gets a big deflection right into the path of Sarmiento. He just turns it home from close range. And that's 4-0. Right, a late throw for us in injury time. Avila back to Angulo. Cardoso to Avila. Squares it. And that's a second own goal for, well, no, an own goal for Arboleda after the first own goal was disallowed in the first half. That offside from the corner. I mean, Cardoso just plays it into Avila, who drills it across. Arboleda just sticks his foot out. Diverts it past the keeper. That's 5-0. And overall, full-time 5-0. A pretty decent start to Clausura. Obviously not the toughest of opposition. But hopefully we can continue on in this vein and not collapse in the semi-final stage like we did in the Apertura. We've made it towards the end of August and we've started the season really, really well. We've got a game coming up against Atletico Bucaramanga. The transfer window has now closed. We did a bit more business in that we signed Andres Sadlock, despite the name, a Colombian, 23 years old, was at Independiente Medellin previously, and has come in and done a pretty good job. Unfortunately, he's picked up a knock and's been out injured for a couple of games, but it just gives us a bit more solidity at the back. Obviously, we saw the opening day of the season against Union Magdalena, that 5-0 victory. We then followed that up with a 2-1 victory away at Tigre. before we lost the first leg of the Copa Libertadores second round 4-1 away at Fluminense. We got off to a pretty bad start, being 3-0 down after 24 minutes. We then bounced back with a 4-1 victory in the league against Envigado before beating Fluminense 2-0 in the second leg, which unfortunately wasn't enough to see us go through. And we went out 4-3 on aggregate there. We then won 4-2 away at Deportivo Cali, 2-1 at home against Deportivo Pasto. And then we had the Copa Colombia fourth round where we've been drawn against Atlético Nacional. We lost the first leg 3-2. We did make that a lot better with that late goal from Belalcazar, bringing things closer. And then just a couple of days later, in the second leg, we ended up running out 4-1 victors in that to go through 6-4 on aggregate to the quarterfinal where we've been drawn against Envigado. And as we said, we've got the game coming up against Bucaramanga. We do have a few players. Garcia's out. Sarmiento, unfortunately, is doubtful. Sadlock's been out for a while. He's doubtful. But going into that game, we've won 5 from 5 to start the Clausura. We're a point behind Independiente Medellin, who've played a game more than us. And hopefully we can just pick up another 3 points and just keep the form rolling on. So this is the side we've picked for the trip to Bucaramanga. Sadlock was the only one that failed the fitness test. So we've got Carvajal and Cerveleon Perez as the defensive pairing, which means we've paired Murillo and Puerta in the defensive midfield roles. Sarmiento's going to start, but we won't play him for the full game unless we need to. Right, Angulo with a throw. Avia back to him. Negredo lifts it to the back post. It's headed away from Belalcazar. Ruiz finds Belalcazar. Keeper turns it onto the post. But Negredo was offside somewhere in there. Right, Angulo with a corner. Aims it to the back post. It's headed clear as far as Avia, who turns it onto his left foot. I don't know whether he was trying to cross that or whether he was shooting, but it hit a defender, took a huge, huge deflection. Quite how that's been given as a goal for him, I don't know. But so Avia picks it up free on the edge of the area. He turns onto his left foot. I still don't know whether that was a pass or a shot, but it takes a huge, huge deflection for 1-0. Right, they've got the ball on the edge of the area. They're looking to go around the outside on the left. Strode forward, and luckily he couldn't keep the effort down. Right, a corner for them. I mean, there was enough bodies there at the near post to try and get that one away. So it's an outswinger, and then 6 yards out, he gets up above 3 and powers the header past the keeper. Right, there we are, 1-1 at half time. It's actually been a pretty even game, looking at the match stats, and I think Sarmiento's going to have to come off at half time. But we need to be so much better in the second half. Right, we made the one change. Niagu's come on to play up front with Negredo, and Sarmiento's gone off. It doesn't look like anything's really going to happen in the second half. Into the last couple of minutes, into injury time. I mean, Belalcazar's had a stinker. But 1-1, I mean, probably the XG is slightly in our favour, but everything else is pretty even. And we drop our first point to the Clausura. But it's still enough to take us top of the table. And there we are, the end of another episode. We've done a bit of work on the squad over the summer break. We've managed to get the Clausura campaign off to a good start. Hopefully we can continue on in the Clausura and the Copa Colombia to give us a bit of confidence ahead of next season and another crack at the Apertura. So join us next time see if we can make it past the quarterfinals of the Copa Colombia and see if we can keep on at the top of the Clausura League table. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.